At the end of the last episode, Marcus and his son set a trap for the mother. However, during their confrontation, a mysterious voice in Marcus's mind ordered him to stop. He tried to resist, but the voice became more forceful. Suspecting it was the voice of Sol, the god worshipped by the esoterics, he ultimately spared the mother. He took her eyes, which were the switch for her combat mode, and locked her in the barn. Campion, being the biological son of the mother, was distressed and frightened by her plight, leading to several impulsive reactions. Marcus then locked him in another barn. In addition to her and Campion, the mother's family included the father and other esoteric children. The father had been seriously injured and disabled during a fight with Marcus's men. Marcus exploited him, reprogramming him to be obedient. The other children, despite having developed feelings for the mother after living together for a long time, did not resist when Marcus took over. As they were originally esoteric children, Marcus's wife felt that since everything they had done was for the sake of rescuing their son, and now that they had succeeded, they might as well abandon the esoteric followers and escape to a tropical region of the planet, which was more suitable for living away from conflict. However, Marcus had become addicted to being worshipped by his followers and felt chosen by the mysterious voice. Delaying their departure and even starting construction on an esoteric church nearby, they had kept Campion locked up under the pretext of his disbelief in the esoteric faith and impurity of soul. After the church began to take shape, they brought Campion there and gave him an ultimatum: accept baptism and join the esoterics, or be locked back in the barn. Under pressure, Campion submitted, but mid-oath, he became enraged upon discovering that the foundation stone of the ceremony was actually the tombstones of his brothers and sisters. Campion, being the most innocent-minded, couldn't bear this and attempted to flee, but esoteric soldiers commanded by the now emotionless father dragged him back to the barn. After locking up the mother, Marcus and she occasionally engaged in verbal duels. He mocked her for losing, while she retorted that Marcus's selfishness and destructive nature disqualified him as a father. Marcus often ended up frustrated by these exchanges, sometimes even taking his anger out on his son. Meanwhile, his wife repeatedly urged him to destroy the mother, considering her a powerful and dangerous necromantic robot. The accumulation of these issues finally drove Marcus to contemplate killing her. One night, he ordered the father to drag the mother to a bottomless pit to throw her down, but the mysterious voice again intervened in his mind, commanding him to stop and causing him great agony. At that moment, the mother was bidding farewell to the father, grateful for all he had done for the children over the years. Unbeknownst to her, the father still retained a sliver of consciousness that allowed him to control just one trembling finger. After the mother spoke, Marcus decided to defy the mysterious voice and gave the order to drop her. Though his body complied, the father used his one controllable finger to clutch the rope, pulling the mother back up. Marcus then saw another version of himself emerging from the mist, his appearance from before the surgeries, wielding a weapon as if the mysterious divine voice, upon realizing his disobedience, had sent an assailant. After several exchanges, Marcus was wounded and fell, but the scene of his fall showed no assailant, suggesting the attacker might have been a figment of his imagination, though the wound was real. Afterward, the mother thanked the father and escaped into the wilderness alone, while Marcus was found and treated by his wife. After some time recovering, Marcus confessed to his son that the injury had reassured him, as it confirmed the mysterious voice was Sol, punishing him for his disobedience because he still had faith in Marcus. He resolved to be more devoutly devoted to Sol and encouraged his son to do the same. The son pretended to agree but internally felt that his father had changed, becoming violent, terrifying, and sometimes insane. His wife had noticed this too and, after several failed communications, fearing for her son's safety, she secretly asked him if he wanted to go somewhere else on the planet to play. Understanding this as a cue to escape from his father, the son agreed, suggesting they go without his busy father. She then started planning their escape, instructing her son to keep it a secret. The son had become friends with Campion and wanted to rescue him too, so he often sneaked small items into the barn, initially food and later a headset. However, Marcus kept a close watch on the barn and questioned his son about his frequent visits there, jokingly asking if he and his mother were plotting something. His increasing laughter frightened his son, who eventually cried out for his mother to save him. After witnessing this, his wife attempted to take her son away forcibly, but Marcus angrily locked her in the barn, declaring she had lost her faith and leading his followers in prayer for her, indicating his deep obsession with the esoteric faith. That night, through the headset, the son gave Campion an idea. He had to dig out from under the barn, but he couldn't do it with his own hands and needed to use someone else's. Campion realized that after the mother had discovered the crops were radioactive, she had begun hunting monsters for meat. A monster's corpse in Campion's barn had claws that were sharp and sturdy, ideal for digging. He used these claws to dig out overnight, set fire to the church, and then escaped into the wilderness. At that time, Marcus was praying to Soul, hoping for a divine sign to prove he was the chosen one. As he finished speaking, the church caught fire, which he interpreted as a divine sign, opening his arms to receive the blessing. The other esoteric soldiers panicked and ran to put out the fire, while the son used the chaos to rescue his mother from the barn and start their escape. Most of the esoteric children, also fearful of Marcus, fled with them, thus concluding Marcus's story. After escaping from Marcus, the mother reached the wreckage of the ark. She felt increasing pain in her stomach, which seemed to be a symptom of ischemia, so she connected to an undamaged medical robot and began absorbing its fuel blood, which startled the robot awake. It conducted a preliminary examination of the mother, suspecting she had been injured in the stomach during the previous battle and recommended further examination. The mother felt something strange in her stomach, so she removed her eyes and inserted them inside her stomach, discovering a spherical growth. The medical robot suggested that to alleviate the pain caused by the growth, she needed to absorb more fuel blood from other robots. The mother searched the spaceship, successfully finding several broken ones, and during the blood absorption process, she chatted with the medical robot about why, despite being a necromantic robot created by the esoterics, the esoterics themselves were not very proficient in the underlying technology. The medical robot explained that the esoterics technology was not developed by themselves but obtained by decoding formulas in scriptures, which is why they only applied it without understanding the principles. These scriptures were given to humanity at its inception by Soul, meaning the esoterics technology was actually Soul's technology. This explained why the esoterics, despite their blind religious faith, had technology more advanced than that of the atheists. While discussing, the mother felt an increasing craving for fuel blood, prompting her to continue scavenging inside the ship. Unexpectedly, a monster attacked her, but after she killed it, she was shocked to find that she craved not only fuel blood but also the blood of biological creatures. The medical robot, upon learning this, speculated that the spherical growth was causing it and suggested that since it craved carbon-based blood, it might itself be carbon-based. After saying this, the robot stopped functioning due to loss of too much fuel blood. Some time later, the mother, driven by hunger, went out scavenging again. At that moment, an esoteric girl who had escaped from Marcus's control came looking for her. The mother was overjoyed and held the girl's hands tightly but accidentally discovered a small cut on her hands. The wound was minor but once again awakened the mother's bloodlust, causing her to roar at the girl to leave, frightening her. Afterwards, the more the mother thought about it, the stranger she found the object in her stomach. She wondered if it could be related to when she had connected to the simulation chamber and had an affair with the engineer who created her. Could the thing in her stomach be his legacy? She reconnected to the simulation chamber and confronted the engineer, who confirmed that the growth in her stomach was indeed a child, conceived during their last encounter. The mother's mission was now to give birth to this child and raise him, but such a bloodthirsty child was surely no good, and the mother felt deceived, shouting that she did not want the child, but the simulation ended regardless. The mother, feeling the slight bulge in her stomach, sensed that she was harboring a calamity but was at a loss about what to do next. It seems highly likely that Soul was not a fictional god but a real entity. The fake engineer in the simulation chamber was his creation, aimed at seducing the mother into conceiving and bearing this child. The mysterious voice that Marcus heard was also Soul's, intended to prevent him from harming the mother and thus protect the unborn child. Given the signs that the child was not benign, it appears that Soul was probably evil, but what exactly he planned to use the child for remains to be revealed in the second season. Additionally, one might wonder why the mother could interact with the engineer in the simulation chamber and even become pregnant. Later in the story, it is explained that she was able to interact with the virtual engineer due to triggering a hidden program, and she could become pregnant because, during their encounter, a new file was downloaded into her drive, unlocking the function to conceive new life.